Buenos nachos. Going on ice. How was your week? What up, man? Sean, how you doing, bud? Don't make me do it, Sean. Don't make me do it. Oh man, listen, if a flat tire is the worst thing that happened, that's still a pretty good week, man. Going on dangle. What's up, Haji? Oh no, listen, thank you, man. Um I was definitely gonna get into that. I actually have like topics of conversation today. I'm not just flying by the seat of my pants. This is the breaker. How are you? Yeah, I heard, man. By the way, Mario, always good to see you, bud. For those who are subbed, you'll be happy to see that there are a couple extra little items in there for you, namely the goat and a broken table. How I managed to get the goat approved? let's just say they weren't looking hard enough, and I'm okay with that. What's going on, Brent? How are you, friend? Yep. I did not expect I did not expect that to get. I was like, no, there's no way that one's going. But sure as sugar, they let that go. By the way, Brent, thank you for sharing your collection, man. Got some pretty dope cards. I dig them. Also, that reminds me. So I have all of the breaks from last Thursday. Unfortunately, I was not able to send them out on Tuesday. I am waiting on a shipment of top loaders. We ran out of top loaders. Everything is sorted. I can actually show you if I turn the camera. Everything is sorted. I just now need to get them top loaded. The top loaders are arriving Saturday morning before 2 p.m. So, since all I have to do is pop them in top loaders, they'll be all out, dropped off at the post office Saturday night. So, I do apologize about that delay. We underestimated how many rookies we would actually have here and how many that would need to be top loaded. So, we bought thousand, a thousand top loaders that are arriving on Saturday. So that'll be more than enough. But I do want to apologize and say that that's not going to be normal. That it's just a little underestimation. And as anybody who's collecting right now, which most of you are, top loaders are kind of hard to come by, especially at a decent price. So just know that those, yeah, it is. Hey, listen, I have, this is all new to me. So now that we have that kind of hammered out, things will go quicker sooner. Um, but yeah, we're ooh dog. But yeah, we will have those out Saturday. I will not be here next week. Yeah. All right. I know. I know. So actually, I want to share with you guys. If you are looking for top loaders, I can't remember if it's Ultra Pro or BCW, whichever the two. Um, on Amazon of all places, Amazon Prime had 1,000 for like less than $350. Now, I know not many people need to go that big. They did have them in lots of 100 for under 35, and I just grabbed 10 lots of 100. So 100 for 35 bucks. If you figure a regular pack is like 25. Yeah, I dig it, Brent. So that's it's not a bad deal, and they're still on there. Last I looked, they still had some left. I bought big a big number of what they had. No, these are in the original. I checked. The first thing I thought was, man, how bad are these going to be? And then it's one of the name brands. So and it's Prime. So since it's Prime, basically, if there's anything wrong, I can just send it right back, and it's not a big deal. Yesterday, for those who tuned in yesterday, I appreciate you. Yesterday was pretty amazing. I got to sit and have an hour-long conversation with the Card Killer. It was on Instagram Live. I have no way that I'm aware of at the moment. I have to do a little more research. I have no way that I can pull that off. So we'll see. Oh, absolutely, Haji. Yeah, I'm glad I cashed out most of my UD EPAC stuff months ago. Yeah. Yep. Well, I think they're just refusing to pay because they're out there. They're just at a premium. I think they're just refusing to pay, you know, uh, $9 for a 10 pack or whatever it is, or 25 pack or whatever it is now. But yeah, the top loaders are expensive. That's why when I saw the price for 100, I grabbed 10 bundles. I was like, oh, I'm taking as many as we can afford. Oh, he always does. It's he does not give out his identity. It's kind of like Banksy. Yeah, yeah, Mario. I do know lately, now that they've built the new, and I'm not defending ComC. I don't know anybody at ComC. I do know with they built the new warehouse, and once they built the new warehouse, I know the turnaround time is greatly increased. Because they were actually putting posts about it that if you got anything recently, the turnaround is quicker. They're pretty close to being caught up. No, I know Haji. I know. Yeah, that's on them. I don't disagree. Um, so got to talk to Card Killer. Got to pick his brain, see where his collecting started, see who he collects, and kind of uh pick his brain. I put the link in the chat because I can't download the video, or you can go directly to my Instagram, DC the Breaker, and amazing stuff. He really gets into his process of creating art, his collecting, his love of Griffey, some future projects that are going to be right around the corner for him, and the fact that he's getting ready for the national. With that said, I would like to thank my Patreons, and I am going somewhere with this. Let me pull this up real quick. Mm. All right. This is what I want. That's not what I want. So mini announcement. If I can get the page open. I mean, I am new to all this stuff. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Dangle, Schmuffalo, Roy, Starlord, Bourbon, Icewolf, Carol, Haji, Doan, Sean, DMAC, John, and Vince. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining my Patreon. I would like to announce officially, thanks to your generosity, and your faith in me as a content producer, um, your donations have actually, your subscriptions have paid for me and the family to attend the Nationals this year in Chicago on my birthday, July 28th. I will be there. Mel, we believe at this point right now, Mel is coming as well. So is Jimmy. Um, and I don't think we're gonna stay the full time, but I think we're gonna do 3 days. But it's not a vacation. I actually have some things lined up. I have a couple of guests that I'm going to be meeting there. I have been in touch with a couple other creators and artists that are into card art and that are changing the game and absolutely the godfathers of this new movement of art that has been sprung upon us in the last couple of years. I actually have reserved some time to talk to multiple people. Thank you, Brent. Thank you so much. Um, so I believe I'm gonna be doing some interviews. We're gonna do some videos. We're gonna do some exploring together, and I'm gonna be uploading all of that. Some of it will be going live from there on live stream. Other parts will be pre-recorded and loaded at a later date with editing. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And it'll be a vacation for James, but it's gonna be working for me and Mel. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I appreciate you. No, no, Mario. Mario. It made me check the adult filter on Penix. But no, so after here this is what's crazy. First of all, I want to also shout out to everybody who follows me on Instagram. After yesterday's interview or chat or convo, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's a convo. We were talking shop. Um, I hit the 200 follower mark on Instagram. So thank you for everybody that also follows me there. That is mind blowing that I've hit 200 already. And I've had a couple of people reach out to me in a very similar way that Card Killer did. Um, both to see if my mustache was real. Thanks for those questions. Yep, this is au naturel. Donnie B Collectibles. He and Card Killer went live after I and Card Killer and I did. Um, he's gotcha, Mario. Okay, well, if he's there, I'll try to get a hold of him. I'm pretty persuasive. So They were talking, and they're like, hoping that we can all connect. So I want to get Donnie Boy, Donnie B, your boy Donnie B. I want to get him in a nice interview because that guy has such a story to tell. He has so many things that he's producing and things that he's doing right now. And if you don't follow him, you got to follow Donnie B Collectibles on Instagram as well. There's another gentleman by the name of Kif Kelly. Kif has Wow. Let me just say that. It's at Kif Kelly. I believe it's Kiffkelley. Not 100% sure. I believe that's what it is. His stuff is phenomenal. It has a very classic look to it, but it has a new feel in the way that he goes about creating his art on cards. Um, he's somebody that hopefully he's very busy. I have a lot of things going on in the next couple weeks. We're hoping in a few weeks, at least before the national, that we can get together and have a convo as well. So a lot of people have reached out to me, and I was able to, through Card Killer and Donnie B, connect with a lot of people that are in the scene. Some amazing, talented artists, and I want to immediately get conversation with those so I can share them with you as well. I cannot stress enough how big this movement is, how many people are doing it. If you look at the Project 70 by Tops and Project 2020, in essence, to some degree, some of those cards are a direct reflection of the card art community, and the card art did precede the Tops doing it. So I'm not saying Tops took the idea because they didn't, but this has been something that has been started for a little while and is just getting more and more impressive as they come out. So if you're into art, if you like to fill your news feed with color and art and none of the you know let down bogus stuff that's out there, start following more artists. That way, every time you open up your feed, all you see is art instead of politics and war and all that other stuff I don't like to talk about. Um, anyway, that's my plug for those guys. I highly recommend it. If you want to see, just go to my Instagram. I'm following all of them. They're following me, and you can find who they are. So shout out to all of them. The living sets, yeah, yes, they are absolutely. Each of those, I think, are even painted pieces of work originally too. So it's fantastic stuff. So a lot of really cool things have just really opened up for me as far as going to the national and getting some interviews in, and I'm pretty excited about the content that I can bring out to everybody. I will look Mario. I imagine his time is tough, but I will try. What's going on, man? I just gave you a shout out. You'll have to watch the beginning of the video. So that's exciting. James needs a vacation. So children under 12 are free, so we're gonna take it. We're gonna drive. It's about 8 to 10 hours, depending on the route we take. But it'll be fun. We just got to find somebody that'll watch our dog or keep our dog forever and never return him. Jim's gonna be at the national. I had no idea. I'm gonna have to introduce my Jim Kelly to that Jim Kelly. Oh, I got you, bud. Well, be safe at work, man. It depends. It depends. Money is not something that we're flush with. So we are shoestring budgeting. That's why we're driving. Because it'll be cheaper to buy, 5 tanks of gas than it would be to buy 3 plane tickets. But if there are, I know Joe DeLamalure was going to be there. Billy Shaw is going to be there. There's quite a few. Not that I expect too many people to know who Joe DeLamalure was. But if you don't know, look it up. Guy was a beast. I would love to see either the Cubbies or the White Sox. As long as somebody from the starting nine are playing for the White Sox. Oh, they are? Okay. Yeah, the 28th, we're definitely going to be there for day one. The 28th is my birthday. So I will be uh pulling on the heartstrings of people to take time to let me sit down and talk to them briefly. In exchange that for birthday gifts, like, hey, listen, it's my birthday. You gotta answer a couple of questions about collecting. So we'll see how that works. But fun stuff. I mean, I'm really excited for everything that's coming up. Shout out to the Queen City Quake, the National Ball Hockey League, Division One, Cubs Reds afternoon game. Man, if I only knew somebody that liked the Reds. I think so we're still hammering out the details. I think we want to drive up all day the 27th or the evening of the 27th. I think we'll do a hotel 27th, 8th, and maybe 9th, and then leave out on the 30th, which I believe is a Saturday or a Sunday or something like that. Mel's got to work. I mean, somebody's got to pay her bills, so she's got to at least be back by Monday. And hopefully with a full day's sleep before. So I would want to get back probably late Saturday. If that means I got to miss some great things, well, that's fine. This is just the first of what I hope becomes many years of going to the National. I also have to see if I can get Icelandic Water to sponsor me. Oh, Joliet. Yeah, that's not too far. Not too far at all. So when I was in the Navy, our boot camp, the year I went in, 99, they closed Orlando. Orlando used to be a big boot camp. So now, well, as of then, I don't know if it's still this way. All recruits came through Great Lakes, which is just outside of Chicago. And my A school for machinist mate was also in Great Lakes, aka Chicago. And after I think it was like 4 weeks, we were allowed to wear civilian clothes and go out on the town as long as we were back by, I don't know, midnight, something like that. And then on weekends, we had full liberty. So I used to go to Chicago every single weekend when I was there. So now, granted, a lot has changed in 21 years, but I at one point did know my way around Chicago. And there was a lot of really great clubs. There was a club there, it was called Voodoo. Uh, we would go to Club Voodoo and we would go to Heat. The club's name was just Heat. And it was me and a bunch of sailors. So, I mean, we weren't technically sailors yet because none of us were on boats at that time. None of us were on the ship. Um, it's we hate when we say boats. Boats are small, ships are big. Um, so we weren't sailors, but we were military, traveling in packs, and that was fun. Back then, so we couldn't have a car on base because the base was small and there was a lot of us. So what you would do is you would rent a thing called a jam van. Jam van. And there was this one jam van driver. He went by the name Super Dave. Super Dave had a Superman tattoo on his arm. Um, and then I think it just said Super Dave underneath it or something along those lines. But that was the one that you wanted because Super Dave would take care of you as long as you paid a decent tip. Anything you needed for that ride. you could get. And that dude was awesome. That was great. If you needed a pack of smokes, he'd have a pack of smokes there. If you needed bottles of water, that guy. This was before Uber. This was way before all of those ride shares. The Jam Van was like a large taxi service, and some of them were like disco vans, the ones like you see in New York City. Where you get in there and it's all lights and music and it's like a party heading out there. And I remember it was a pretty long drive, so we always appreciated when Super Dave was available, and he knew on Fridays and or Saturdays that he was going to get a lot of business from the guys at Great Lakes, both to and from, and it wasn't expensive either. It was a pretty reasonable rate. So my favorite MRE is I've only eaten one. Navy doesn't have MREs. We never use them since every ship has a mess hall, and every mess hall has both perishable and non-perishable goods for any given situation. Now, my experience with MREs actually comes with us destroying them. We had a unit of, I don't know what they're called. I'm just going to say unit. We had a unit of Marines. We had multiple actually on our aircraft carrier. We had a Helo squadron. We had a Helo squadron, and we had an amphibious craft team for our Middle Eastern tour. What's going on, Bolt? I love you, man. Sweet. After the deployment was over, the MREs that they had were at their final expiration or within like 2 months of their expiration. So what they had us do is they had everybody. I don't remember how I got volunteered for it, but I ended up getting volunteered for it. We had to unload hundreds of these things, and what they wanted us to do is we had to separate them because the MREs have a caustic chemical in them that, when exposed to oxygen, rapidly heat up, and that's how they work. I don't know the name of the substance. I know it's completely safe because it's just a thermal reaction. So when you tear the top off, and you expose it to air, the thing just starts bubbling in your hand. And then certain ones were water reactive, like they're like a soup or like a stew. So it was, as soon as you poured water in it, it started almost boiling immediately. Now, I don't know if it was a mixture of the water and the air, how it worked. I don't know, man. I was 20 years old. So we couldn't throw those out. We had to do one of two things. We had to set them aside and then dispose of them with, I don't remember who came in. They were going to take the boxes. Or they said, if you just want to save some time, rip them open, let them heat up, and then toss them. So we just got a kick out of the chemical reaction. So the MREs came in these packages, and you'd open up the package. There was like your main meal. There was candy, like M&Ms, or it was M&Ms. I want to say, or like Milky Way. I know one for sure was M&Ms because we had a treasure trove of M&Ms. We became like the it guys in engineering, in the engineering department. We had, no joke, no lie, a huge trash bag, almost 3/4 filled with these little snack size M&Ms. And the M&Ms were not expired. But we had, there had to be close to 200 of those. And we just hid them in an empty locker, and that was in the military, it's called Gedunk. That was our Gedunk depot for a solid month and a half. It was nice. And then on top of that, there was tablets. There were tablets in there, and depending on which type of MRE it was, there was either an iodine tablet that was a like a water purifying tablet that had, I want to say it was like iodine and something else. But it was a little tablet you would drop in water, and it would purify the water, or at least antimicrobial, would kill anything that was in it and make it potable. Or if it was one of the non like emergency rations, they would have like not many people are going to know what these are, but if you're over 35, you may remember fizzies. They were these little tablets that you would put in water and it would turn the water into pop, basically, or soda, or a fizzy flavored beverage. The non emergency MREs would have one of those to drop in your water. They were non purifying. And it was funny because those ones would say on there non purifying tablet and then like cherry or something like that. The other ones would say, it would have the mil spec number or whatever the number is on there, and then it would have the expiration date, and that was it. Didn't have any flavor on it. But they were in deceptively similar little like Alka Seltzer type things. So there was that. Now the MRE flavors that we had, one of them was beef stroganoff. That was the most disgusting thing that you can imagine. The smell. The smell alone let you know that you, under no circumstances, were going to want to eat that, and that there was a good chance you would just go ahead and try to live off of M&Ms, because it was horrible. There was one that was in like a tin. That was the soup. It was like a chicken stew. Ooh, Doan, that's close. Was the smell worse than the cup? Imagine not as bad as like the 17-18 the cup. So it was decent. It was like the 15-16 cup. You know, not awful smelling. Chances of, really paying out. But just a hint of stinkor in it. Just a dab of stinkor. When we opened those things up and those things started bubbling and boiling, like it just was like feet wrapped in Chef Boyardee sauce that has been sitting on the counter for an hour. That, as it starts to re-solidify, it's grossing me out just thinking about it. I'm having sensory recall. It was just nasty. Remember, it smelled like foot and Chef Boyardee. That's what it smelled like. And then there was one, I can't remember what we ate, but it was one that, like, all of us ate them. Like, we were like, oh, you need this. And on my son's life, I can't remember what it was now. But anytime, because you didn't know what was in the MRE, at least these ones, until you opened them. Now, at one point, they were sorted in separate crates, but when we got them, they were just dumped into a giant, like, trough that we carried. So at one point, the cases that they were in had the what was in there, and there was three of them. I can remember. It was the beef stroganoff. It was this like chicken stew soup type thing, and then there was a third one that I don't remember, but I remember it was good, and like literally because we all opened them, and some of the braver guys, there was I think three or four of us, opened one, and he tried one of all of them. The beef stroganoff, he said it wasn't bad. I couldn't get past the smell. The soup one, the stew, like it was like it's like a chicken noodle soup, but it was thick. It was real thick, almost gumbo thick. That one was actually not bad. I can't remember what the third one was. That one was actually good, where it was like I'm actually going to eat this. There were crackers, little things of crackers. like oyster crackers or saltine. No, salt. It was saltines. As a matter of fact, I want to say it was actual saltines. Um, yeah, it was the main meal. It was the saltines, depending on the meal. And if it wasn't a saltine, it was a like a biscuit, like a hard, not like I want to say hardtack. I know that's wrong. It isn't the Civil War, and it didn't have mealworms in it. But it was like a hard biscuit that you would soak in water, and it would expand and it would be almost like a bread. And then it was the candy, and then whatever drink tablet came with it, and then uh, a spork, and that was it. A spork, no knife, because everything was bite sized. Man, you're bringing back memories. I haven't told that story. I don't think ever. I don't think I've ever told the story of MREs. Thank you. Thank you, Brent, for bringing back that moment and that memory and allowing me to put it on the internet. But yeah, it took us a solid like 2.5 hours, man. We had a huge one of those big tall dumpsters, not like a more like a construction dumpster. It's true, Mario. It's true. You know the kind of construction dumpsters that go on the back of flatbeds when they take them out. So there was us literally sitting on the side of them, dangling our feet into the garbage thing, and we were doing the off rep. We were taking all the extra stuff that was being thrown out post trip, post cruise, and we were dumping. So we were facing the ship, and people were dumping towards us, and we were just sitting there splitting these things up, tearing them open, letting them heat up, and as soon as they were done heating up, we would just throw them in there. As long as the reaction was complete, it was safe to throw them out. You just couldn't throw them out if the reaction wasn't complete. They said if you threw these cases in there and then let's say threw a bunch of stuff on there and like smash all these cases, it would superheat everything and could cause explosions or fire depending on what you dumped in there. So we had to cause the reaction to allow us to throw it in the garbage. Otherwise, we had to have the waste people come by. Some of them aren't bad. I haven't had any non-military MREs. Now, MRE stands for meals ready to eat. Um, Civilian and military ones are vastly different. If you can get civilian ones, they're actually really delicious. I did have an MRE. Oh, on Amazon? I did have an MRE camping. When we used to go camping in Florida, we would go to the Rainbow Forest. Or no, Silver River Forest? No. I can't remember the name of the forest. It's by the Silver River. It could be the Silver River State Park. It's 15 years ago. I don't remember. Or 13 years ago. But we would do MREs to go there. And they, like you, civilian ones are actually not bad. They're good. They don't have a very long shelf life. They maybe only have like 7 years, as opposed to a military one, which can have 10. Another interesting story. While we're at it, um, so thanks in part to the Titanic, every ship has to have a number of lifeboats equal to the people that are on the ship or more. Ice Wolf, I will have to look that up because that sounds great. Honestly, some of them aren't bad. I've had civilian ones. They're good. What's up, Benj? How you doing? So, the ships. Excuse me. I just realized I didn't bring water. The ships have it. If you look on the side of a military ship, and especially aircraft carriers, you will see these giant barrels that kind of look like oversized beer kegs. Those are actually really awesome. Oh, everything's great, dude. I appreciate you. So inside those barrels, they're actually pressure release barrels. When those hit the water and sink to a certain depth, they'll pop open. That's what they're designed to do. And then from there will come a life raft that holds, I think, 20 people. Don't quote me on it. I'm going with 20. Again, I'm almost 41. Military was a long time ago. So they would these orange rafts that have covers would pop up. And by the way, if you ever get an emergency raft for your boat and you ever plan on going into the ocean, make sure it has a cover, because actually sun exposure is one of the main things that kill people. If you're stranded at sea, water is the number one reason you die, because people will go crazy and start drinking salt water, which kills you quicker. And the other one is sun exposure. So I know this is not something not any of you are going to do, but I just want to say it. Make sure any emergency boat you buy has a pop up cover or a blanket that can cover you, because those are the two things: water and sun exposure. Um, anyway, so in these barrels is this rolled up boat, little life raft, that is auto inflatable, and then in addition to being automatically inflatable, Benj, yeah, undersea grenades, same thing. They hit a certain depth charge. A depth charge hits a certain depth and then explodes. The pressure triggers the explosion on the inner casing. If I remember my military history that we learned in boot camp, and then when you're in the Navy, you learn about how all those things work. So yeah, you actually when you go into the service, you have to go to school while you're in the service, and they teach you about things like that. That's how I learned about John F. Kennedy and all the amazing things he did as a sailor, an officer. Um, so these boats are only good for, I don't know, 40 years, 30 years. There's a shelf life on those barrels, and you have to take them out, inspect them, and swap out the emergency kits that are on there. Now, we did this in 2000. We did this before we went to the Middle East, the Millennium Cruise. Um, they were due within, I think, 2 years, but they said since we were going for, going for the year 2000, they were going to change them out a little bit early. And uh, we had to swap these out. So I didn't get to undo any of the rafts or actually see any of them how they're opened, because you can manually open them without it. I think it's just a certain type of clasp. And inside of those is a little kit, and it's the craziest thing. The ones that we opened, our job was to open the little. It was a box. It was like a plastic box. It was about this big. Inside the box was these things that looked like fruit roll-ups, like hard fruit roll-ups. They were nutrient sticks. They were fruit or some puree or something based nutrient sticks. They smelled like everything. And when I mean they smelled like everything, they smelled like plants, herbaceous, slightly fruity, slightly musty, slightly stale, slightly acidic. I mean, every single if you could taste all the food in the world at once, but instead of tasting it, taking that and smelling what you're tasting, that is what this stick, this nutrient stick, tastes like. And there was one per, I think it was either one per person for capacity. And let's say 20. I think it was either 20 sticks or it was 10. And the middle of the stick had a line in it. There were two different ones that we saw, because all of our boxes were not swapped out at the same time, we're assuming. But they said it was from like the 70s was the last time that those had been done. So it was from the 70s. I'm going to say it was either a 25 or 30-year swap out that you had to do. And this is the USS John F. Kennedy, by the way, CV-67, which is now decommissioned and being dismantled. It unfortunately lost its bid to be a museum, so now it's trash. Um, so we had to get rid of the nutrient sticks, put in these new like paste. They were like tubes. Oh God, I didn't dare, Dave. I didn't dare. I didn't. I trust me. My first no, he was the second. No, it was the first class. Yeah, my first class, my MM1. Those bars would have been probably made in the late '60s, early '70s. Yeah, that thing, man. No, uh, no. CV-67 was just the number of the ship. The keel was laid in 1963. I think 1965 it went out. That is where I drew the line, Dave. My first class even was like, I will give you $50 if you take a bite out of that thing. And I couldn't do it. Listen, I've drank cobra blood. I've eaten horse. I've eaten camel. I mean, I've probably eaten cat and dog. Considering one of the Asian cuisine places I used to go to in West Seneca got busted for killing cats. So, but man, no, no, didn't work. Yeah. Um, I wouldn't do it. Inside these packs, though, also the iodine tablets, there was a little desalinization kind of pump. Like it was a tube with a filter, and you would dip the tube in there and you would draw out water. And there was another tube at the top. So when you drew it out, it would kind of push it and it would do only a couple of drops at a time. Um, and it said on there that it was only good for like a gallon of seawater. That's it. So there was only one in the ones that I saw. So you got 1 gallon of seawater converting into about, I don't know, 10 cups of fresh water. I did not have the paste. The paste was new. That was all from the late 90s. We couldn't eat that because we had to put them in the capsules. Those we were just replenishing. We were swapping out everything. And then we got rid of those pumps, and then we had um, they were they looked like, trying to think the best way to put it, a straw, but really really thick. And it had a tube inside, but they were sealed, so I don't know how they worked. But they were about this long, and about that big around, about that big around, and it was sealed in. I could feel what it was, and then there was a tube inside, but it was sealed, and it was in like black plastic. So I just could feel that. I could feel what it was. It was like a tube. That's what we were replacing the little pumps with. And then there was cigarettes. There was like a 10 pack of cigarettes, and we had to remove the cigarettes. We were not allowed to replace the cigarettes. I believe there was like a Nicorette gum or a type of nicotine gum that we were replacing it with. But the cigarettes had to be removed and discarded. Weren't allowed to have the cigarettes on there. Oh yeah, Benj. Yep. Yeah. Yes, sir. That is. I mean, fairly common. Oh, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. the Breaker. All right. So put that there. So we had to do that, and then there was something else in there. Oh, we had what did they call them? Yeah, yeah. Just condemned it. Um, are they called May Wests? This could be a term that I'm not supposed to use. If what I say is offensive, I apologize. But this is just, what's up, Motley? But this is literally what they were called. I don't know if this is really what they were called. I think this was the actual name of them. Uh, I want to say they were listed as May Wests. May West was a neck preserver inflatable device. They eat a lot of past due food. Yeah, I bet they do. It it was a you would put it over your neck, and then you would hit the pump, and you would pull the thing, and it would inflate the the vest around your neck. What's going on, Bourbon? Happy Thursday, brother. They were called May Wests. Now, in my youth, I was like, why are they called May Wests? If you Google a picture of Mae West, the actress, you'll see why they were called Mae Wests. And I believe it was Mae West. I could be completely wrong, and that would be embarrassing. But I'm like 90% sure it was Mae West's. So not a PC term, but that's, I mean, I'm sorry they didn't have any other name. That was really what they were called. We had to make sure that the tubes would tell you if they were good or not. And you would have to just make sure that the tube was in the green. And then you'd have to make sure that you'd blow one puff of air into, because it had a manual tube. You'd blow one puff of air into it to make sure that it moved a little bit so that you knew that the tube was clear. And then we had to replace, there's little cartridges that you would, open it up, push that back in, and then you'd have to reseal it with this like glue that they had, because it was, the cartridges were sealed inside. My job wasn't to reseal them. My job was to determine if they needed to be resealed, and then hand them to the petty officer that was going to reseal them. But it was just wild and interesting stuff that we had to do. All before we got to the Middle East. Um, so to catch everybody up that just joined, Benj, Bourbon, Motley, all y'all, I will be in attendance at the National in Chicago. So if anybody is going to be at the National, at least the 28th, 29th, and 30th, hit me up. Let me know. Maybe we can meet up. Maybe we can do some chatting, some talking. Maybe make a little video. Get to see me and likely Mel and quite possibly Jimmy. Y'all know how to get a hold of me. It was funny. We weren't. I was originally not going to go, even though it was on my birthday. But then Card Killer asked if I was going to the National, and Donnie B was like, "Are you going to the National?" I'm like, "Oh man, let me look into it. I'll see." And then what's the National? The National Card Convention in Chicago, July 28th through, I don't know, like the 2nd or something like that. And then I looked at the price, which it was very inexpensive. It's $19 a day, or you can get a pass for like $150 or $140, and that gives you the whole time. And then I realized, wow, I will take my Patreon and put that directly towards producing more content as I promised I would. For Jimmy, it's a vacation. For me and Mel, it's going to be work. I don't have walking around money to really buy anything at the National, but I will be there to produce some content, to get some probably a couple of autographs if I can, as well as some interviews for sure. But very excited. I've never been to a National before, so it'll be fun. But yeah, I was actually surprised how inexpensive it was. Uh, Bolt, if I remember where you live properly, I don't think it's too far of a trek for you. You could easily weekend it if that was your sort of thing. Which I know it really isn't too much, but just saying. Oh, never mind. It is well, yeah, it is a bit of a trek. Strike that. I thought you were a little bit closer. I forget things. Well, hey, listen, keep me posted. I'll be there. So if you are, we'll find a way to meet up, my friend. I want to do a little bit of sightseeing. I want James to at least see some of the sights. Maybe take a couple of photos, a couple of videos outside of important places. I am terribly afraid of heights. Anything over 12 feet, I get crazy vertigo, knees buckle, it's ugly. When I was in the military, you get free access to what was then called the Sears Tower. I don't know what it's called now. And they had just installed glass flooring on part of it. And you could lean against the glass and look through the glass, like, paneling. And that was the most horrifyingly crippling fear I've ever had in my life up until that moment. I might do it again just to remember what being scared is. And that will be definitely funny to witness because it'll be a big out of shape baby crawling on his hands and knees, possibly crying. So a typical Tuesday. That's right, they do have an MJ statue, don't they? Not a huge basketball fan, but I think it would be mandatory considering my profession that I go visit the MJ statue. I mean, I've always been a huge Michael Jackson fan, so it'll be interesting. See if it's still safe to take the train. I know it used to be the elevated train. Yeah, she would live stream that. She would me crying terribly. Carol, how are you doing? The west side of the city? Well, as long as it's not the south side, I think we're good. It has been a very long time since I've been there. Oh, I can't complain, Carol. Nobody would hang out with me and talk to me if if I was complaining. So I am good. Oh, you're talking about the deep dish pizza? Yeah. Yours is I believe VIP. I believe the star is VIP. The crown is, I want to say, subscriber, maybe vice versa. Ice has one. Excuse me, because I believe he earned one.
Plus 50 green. I don't know what you're saying.
Hellbolt has a sword because he's a mod. Carol, that's a good question. Un momento, por favor. So I do know they only gave me like 15. Um, Now I believe I've hit the certain level where I can add more. Yeah, the diamond is VIP, the sword is moderator. Yeah, I did get a couple of more. There you go, Carol. If you say something now, it should change. Crown is Prime Gaming? Okay. I don't know what I have. I have that, whatever that is. A package, I got a package, a star, and the person streaming. I think that's how this works. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. Yeah, I'm figuring it out as I go along. Just like yesterday was the first time I ever Instagram lived. I had to play it off like I knew what I was doing. Oh, Dangle, thank you, buddy. We were just talking about MREs and some of the crazy things I did in the military uh, for like maintenance and things along those lines. And I was giving a shout out to my Patreons by name, Carol, and saying thank you because this month's Patreon is going to go towards me, Mel, and Jimmy going to the National Card Convention. It'll be a vacation for James, but Mel and I will be working. We are going to be doing, I got some interviews lined up. I'm going to do produce some content for everybody to see, just so that everybody knows that the money from the Patreon is going to us producing more content, and we appreciate it. Derek, man, I don't know why you for some reason can't hear any of them. I know I have the sound effects turned up. I don't know. I have it on high. Yeah, listen, man, if you guys want to, send in okay, so it's tricky. If some of you have things that you want to see, or have disposable income, I'll be more than happy to shop for you. We just got to make sure we have receipts, because I love you guys, but I'm not going to be responsible for anything. I've never gone before, Carol. I actually wasn't planning on going this year. However, it is on my birthday. And I was asked by a couple of people if I was going, and it was kind of assumed and expected that I would. So I guess if I'm going to take, I hate this term, but this is what they're using. If I expect to be a card influencer and a content creator, I'm actually kind of expected to go. That's where I need to be. Simply because that is the avenue that I'm going down. I am more about the collecting phase and interviewing people and artists and talking to people about their collections and going and getting the explanations of collections and finding amazing pieces in these collections, more so than about breaking itself. Which is why I have no breaking plan for this week, and I'm not going to be here next week. By the way, I'll remind everybody I will not be here next week. I may go live to air, but I will not be at my home. So, um, we'll see. But yeah, I'm trying to make the breaking aspect less of what I do and make the content creating and the talking to you guys, the hanging out, the having a good time, the conversation. The conversation, 90%, 80%, I'd say 80% of me breaking is the conversation we're having. And we've kind of found a little niche where we can just talk without the cards. And I mean, it's up to you guys. Either we can start conversation. Don't make me do it. Keep the conversation going. I don't want to be that guy. You don't want me to be that guy. Anyway, Sean, this, by the way, Creepa, of all things, Creepa sent this to me. He sent me a matched pair of ears. What he expects me to do with them, I'm not sure. I guess I'm too greasy for that to stick. It would have been funnier if it stuck. But yeah, they are, I guess I could practice piercing. I digress. But yeah, I'm stoked to go. I want to represent you guys and bring the experience to you in a series of videos, and just like yesterday with the conversation with Card Killer, I want to bring everybody that's in my circle, and that's all of you and all the people that will be watching it and aren't here live right now. I want to expose you guys to all of the great things that I expose myself to, without exposing myself to you. I don't think that sounds right. Can you? There it is. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ear. That's a great Robin Hood Men in Tights. Britons, lend me your ear. That's disgusting. Anyway, I want to bring you guys into the things that I do. One of the things that gives me all of these stories, and one of the things that allows me to have a conversation with almost every human being I come across, is the fact that I the fact that I expose myself to a lot of different things. And by that I mean I'm gonna say yes to a lot of experiences. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm in. What's going on, Tech? I put myself in situations to have the stories. Not everybody can do that, and I want to share those stories and those moments with everybody. And just like Carol said, she's always wanted to go to the national. If I can go, and if I can, film me talking to some great people and produce some great content, then that's absolutely worth it to me that I get to share that with you. And hopefully that's part of the reason you're here, is because I get to share those conversations with you as well. And that's the important part, is that, we get out there and we have fun. And that's why this community that we've built is so important to me, because you're all fabulous. You are. It's true. You enjoy the same things I do. Even though we don't all agree on the same things, we do enjoy the experience of fleshing those things out. So I'm stoked to be able to do that and to be the one that brings it to you. And there is a plan, and I'm not going to tip my hand, but there is a plan in motion that is going to have me doing a lot more. Not that I'm aware of, Derek. I haven't approached them about it. I'm in partnership with DCD Collects. I am not an employee of the company. I am self-employed. I am in partnership with them. That's the best way that I can put it. So there's going to be a lot of things that I do that they're not necessarily with me on. And by with me, I mean physically going with me. I did toss around the idea that I wanted to possibly go. But it could be completely independent. I mean, the content I make is mine. But we are in partnership on some endeavors. So to be clear, I am self-employed. But Doug and Trevor, actually, matter of fact, Doug and Trevor are on a mini vacation now to parts unknown. Yeah, the difference between VIP is actually not a lot. So if you take a look and you realize that it's $19 a day for a basic ticket. It's $19 per day for a basic ticket. If you buy the VIP package, which is $139, that's going to give you all 5 days, as well as the VIP lounge, a VIP gift package, and 12 select free VIP autos. In addition to allowing you in a half hour early. So if you plan on going for 5 days, you're going to spend $95 anyway. Why not spend the extra $44 and get the VIP package? So if you're there for the long haul, it's absolutely worth it to get VIP. If you're only going to go for a couple of days, then yeah, $19 a ticket is the way you want to go. If you plan on driving, the $199 option gives you a parking garage. It's about a block away, according to them, and a better VIP package, including exclusive VIP cards not available to anybody else. I don't know that I'll do that. I mean, $200 is a lot of money. I don't. If anything, I might buy the VIP for myself, um, and then just buy single days, or vice versa. I might buy the VIP for Melissa, and have her schmooze and show her beautiful face in the VIP lounge. And then drag people out of the VIP lounge to see me on the floor for my $19 a day. I don't know. We haven't figured it out yet. We just know that we're going. So that is on the docket. That is one of the things that we're contemplating. It's a work in progress. We'll have things hammered out in 2 weeks. But yeah, I have seen videos from previous VIPs, and it's a good time. The giveaways, like the gift boxes that they do, tend to be the swag bags tend to be pretty awesome. I know in years past, the cards that are exclusive are actually sometimes Panini will do exclusive national packs. That the only way you can get them is by being a VIP or a vendor. I do know the vendors are going to have the national packs, and those are like gold when you leave. When the national is over, they're given away pretty freely because they give them a few hundred. But once it's over, those become, $15, $20 packs, sometimes $40, $50 packs, depending on the rookie class. So I will probably, instead of buying singles, I may try to scoop up as many of the national packs as I can, because the resale value typically is pretty good, and there's also cool stuff in there. Derek, it wouldn't be awkward for me. I have no animosity. The hate train is one way in that relationship. I have no animosity whatsoever towards them. I wish them nothing but the best. I hope their endeavors are fruitful. And I reiterate, I have no ill will. The hate train is purely one way, and it's definitely not leaving from my station. Do I ever want to go to the San Diego Comic-Con? I do, but it's so complicated because I am so far away. That's not something I can drive to. I've only been to the Tampa Comic-Con. My only concern is I wouldn't want to go unless I had a lot, and I mean a lot of spending money. Because I am somebody that feels terrible if I want something, I see it, and I can't afford it. And and San Diego Comic-Con, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm being real. $3,000? I would need about $3,000 spending money. I would probably need about $3,000 in addition to expenses. I would need $3,000 to spend on the floor. Otherwise, I would not enjoy myself because I would have FOMO. Scotch. What's up, Panda? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, the Tampa Comic-Con was small. That's where I got to hang out with Val Kilmer and was starstruck by Carrie Elwes. You get used to it quick. Yeah, day 1 is probably spring fresh. Day 3 probably gets a little rank. Yeah, they are. No, really. Carrie, I wish I could have looked him in the eye. I remember looking at him briefly and going, God, he's still beautiful. And then Val, I mean, it's funny. I can pal around with Mr. Kilmer. I can, not just kind of shake it off like, hey, there we go. Hey, it's just Val. And then I get to Mr. Elwes, and I'm like, don't look at me. Yeah, Brent, I would want to go bonkers there. I would buy stuff that I didn't even need just to have from Comic-Con. Um, but I would seriously, cuz I mean, I would be looking to get multiple pieces, one for me and then one to sell. I would want one for my collection and then one to put up when the com is over to recoup some of my money. Oh, Ice Wolf, that's grody. Yucky. Yeah, I would be one of those people that would have a book bag that would have bottled water, deodorant, and probably a cologne because I'm 225 pounds, and I'm not gonna say that I'm one of those sweaty nasty guys, but I carry weight, and I'm aware when I'm very self aware when I'm sweating. Now because I bathe regularly, it's usually not an issue, but I would be overly concerned. I would be overly concerned. Um, I think, as a matter of fact, when I did the Comic Con in Tampa, I think I had deodorant and cologne just in case, because I didn't want people to look at me and go, "Oh, look at that fat guy." I'm not going to go near him. Of course, I was also almost 250. I think I was like 248 or 249 when I went to that Comic Con. Oh, I know. I know. Well, listen, I'm going to be real with you. A lot of those celebs that do the photo ops are getting paid. They're clearing, depending on who they are, they're going to make almost six figures. The B-rate actors are still going to walk around with 20 or 30 grand from that. But the A-listers, those guys, well, I wouldn't say there's any. Well, yeah, there's going to be a couple A-listers. Those cats are making six figures to be there. They do well because um, and actually, I know this for a fact because I talked to somebody who helped organize the Tampa one, and because I asked them, I was like, "How does that work?" Depending on who they are and depending on how they negotiate their deal, it could be a flat fee. It could be, we'll give you 20 grand for 3 days. And that's it. That's what you make. You sign as many autographs as people come up to you. You have to be at the table from this time to this time. Then you get a break. Then this time to this time. And that's it. Others negotiate a per auto because you pay for a ticket for the auto, a per auto fee. And then the big names get both. They'll get like 50% of the take and like maybe 10 grand for expenses to get there and stuff like that. Yeah, some of them do really well. I felt bad. So right next to Mr. Elwes was the girl who played Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Um, Lovely girl. She had nobody in line to get an autograph, and I felt terrible. Um, because she sat at her table. Now, mind you, and this is not a knock on her. She's a brilliant, brilliant actor. She really is. She's done, by the way, more than that. Check out her reel. She's actually put in some great work outside of that. Yeah, there you go. But she was between. Yeah, 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 exactly. She was between Carrie Elwes, and then the other side was the sheriff from Stranger Things. And this would have been probably 4 years ago or 3 years ago. Stranger Things was new. It was after season one. So she was stuck between a timeless famous person and a newly famous person. And then I think two tables down was the Hound from Game of Thrones. So she had to compete with Val Kilmer, Carrie Elwes, the Hound, Rory, the Sheriff, and Neville Longbottom from Harry Potter. So, of those actors at that time in her career, she was kind of the odd lady out. But here's what I want to say. Forgive me, I don't know her name, which is rude of me. She did not waver. She kept her head up. Occasionally, she would look down at her phone. It looks like she was answering texts or something like that. But other than that, she would, hands folded in front of her, sitting up perfectly straight, eyes forward, watching the people. And anytime somebody would go into her line, and she did have like a little, I wouldn't say nobody was there. That's categorically false. She would have people that would trickle in. She, at one point, had like 5 or 6 people that were cosplaying as her, actually, that came in. A couple of Deadpools wanted photos with her, so they paid for the, and basically the cool thing was if they got an autograph, because she wasn't as busy, she was basically like, if you want to take a photo, which is cool, because she doesn't have to do that. She could be charging for that, and I know she wasn't, because I was at the front of the line next to there, and I heard the transactions. So she was basically giving out free photos for anybody that grabbed an auto, which is amazing. And all the Deadpools, and there was a slew of Deadpools. All the Deadpools heard that, and I know at one point she was flocked with a full line of Deadpools. I actually have a picture of some of the Deadpools. Oh, I'm going to have to go way back. Not that far back. All right, give me a moment. Alex Kingston. That's that's what's her name? From Doctor Who. Am I thinking of the right person? River Song, thank you. I couldn't remember it. I love her, by the way. I love her. All right, so. Now, mind you, this is not a flattering photo of me. I told you I was about high 240s. This was about 20 to 25 pounds ago. No, I'm not the one in the suit. I was a big boy. But there were so many Deadpools there that they had a Deadpool gathering. And the Deadpool gathering at one point all went and got signatures and photos of them together. And she was an absolute sport. There was a dude who had arguably the best Wolverine costume I've ever seen in my life. Oh, absolutely, Ice Wolf. You are correct. Yeah. This guy was arguably one of the best Wolverines I'd ever seen. He actually had resembled Hugh Jackman. I had to do a double take the first time he walked through the con. I still have the same amount of hair, it's right. A little less here, though. I didn't take very many photos of that Comic-Con. Yeah, I've been rocking a bald head for a long time. Probably at least 5 years. Last 5 years, and then before that, when I played hockey, I shaved my head. So at least 10 years of my life, I've been bald or choosing to be bald. But yeah, I went there. I think I only had like $300 to my name at the Comic-Con in Tampa, and that was also for my birthday. I think my mother bought my ticket for my birthday, and I spent almost all my money on Carrie Elwes getting his autograph twice because they gave a deal. If I brought my own book and I bought 2 autos, it was like 2 for whatever. And I bought something else. I don't remember what it was. I don't think it was anything exclusive, but it was just something that I wanted. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. But now that I'm, have been in the industry, for lack of a better term, I would approach a Comic-Con much differently now. I would spend my money differently now. I would know what to do now, whereas before I was just kind of walking around the floor with my finger in my nose, figuratively and literally. So it'll be a different ball wax. Like this upcoming national, I'm probably going to do it all wrong. I'm probably going to be at the wrong place at the wrong time for most of it. But sometimes it takes a beginning experience and a bad experience, or at least an ignorant experience before you can enjoy everything that there is about a festival. So, yeah, fun fact. There is a really huge Renaissance festival that goes for most of the year round in Wisconsin, not far from Chicago. When they say that they are okay with people being in character, spoiler alert, that doesn't mean you're allowed to go in the forest and pee. You still have to use the outhouses. Just want to throw that out there. When in Rome does not apply to the medieval festivals, the throwback festivals. Don't ask me how I know. Just know. Just give me that free piece of advice. And if you don't know, now you know. That was when I used to drink, like really drink. Like I would have like 4 or 5 flagons of ale. I was like 20. I mean 21. That's what I meant. I misspoke there. A slip of the tongue. And in no way Freudian. I don't know if it's necessarily a Renaissance fair. I know it's like it's permanent buildings. I went because I'm a nut for I would be a mall ninja if I wasn't so refined. If some people know what a mall ninja is, I'm not going to explain it. If I ever got super wealthy after donating a bunch of money to St. Jude's, with the remaining money after taxes, after donations, we're talking ultra wealthy, like, $100 million. I would have like a medieval weapon room of just like swords and armor all over. I'd have a wing of my house would just be, a tribute to medieval times, and just the insane living that it was, and the amazing things that were done and made during that period. There you go, Scotch. That's about right. I wouldn't have those. He's like, you would have unrealistic anime swords. Now I would look for more like actual stuff. If I ever was ultra wealthy, I'd have a museum in my house. And I would let everybody come there for free. They could just wander through my house and uh, see cool stuff. I would if I ever had that type of money, I would bring that stuff to the people. And everyone would be like, "Oh, you should charge at least $1 just so that, you can have them sign an insurance waiver." Yeah, I'll charge you like a nickel to come in. But I would want to share everything that I ever got with everyone else. I want everyone to see, like, oh, isn't that cool? And tell the story behind it. Like, I would give personal tours. Yeah, I bought this here. This is from this. This is, this is how important this is. And then, like, I would do tours of no more than 4 people because I'd want them to, not feel like they're part of a large group. I'd be like, yeah, hold on, I have 3 more people that just showed up. I'll meet you at the exit. But yeah, it was in, I don't remember the name of it because this was in 2000 or 99. Um, but it was in Wisconsin because we were told not to go to Wisconsin while we were in A school, but we went. And I remember it was like permanent structures, and I was like, this is like real. And like the people were like, they lived there. Some of them, not all of them, some of them actually lived on site year round, or not year round, but like summer round. And they shut it down for the winter. That sounds familiar. That sounds familiar, Dave. If that's in Wisconsin, and if it's not terribly far from Illinois. That sounds real. For Bristol Ren, that sounds real familiar. Yeah, the Bristol Renaissance Fair. I'm sorry, I'm just now seeing Toad that you said the same thing. Yeah, yeah, that was it then. Yep. Oh man, I would love the stories, the rumors about Lucas Ranch, for those in the know, are legendary. Legendary. There are there is rumored footage that exists in Lucas Ranch that will never see the light of day, but exists. The stories that must be in there. I hope George Lucas finds somebody that he can entrust with some of those items. Um, that is something that I would do if I ever became ultra rich. I'd be like, how do I get an invite to the Lucas Ranch? Yes, Dave. I don't remember that. I know there is a master cut of something from the prequels that is supposed to be just mind-numbingly good, but unfortunately nobody would release it because of how long it would have been. And now that he no longer has anything to do with it, he refuses to revisit it. That and from what I've heard, George Lucas is a bit vindictive. Now, I'm just hearing this from rumor. I don't know if this is true. So, George, if you're watching, and I know you are, I'm just filling you in on rumor. Um, but the I heard he's very vindictive, and when people didn't like the prequels, he basically shut down all the special features, like other than what was released as part of like the things, but like the additional stuff, the behind the scenes stuff, the real uncut director's cut of those things will never see the light of day because he believes that people don't deserve it. If you ridicule something of his, he never forgets it, is what I'm told. Spielberg, I heard, is the same way. Again, I don't know. But that is what I was told. Is he's the type of person who always like, well, if you're not going to appreciate it, I'm not going to share it with you, because he's not going to waste his time. I would love to hang out with him and pick his brain about just creation, how he built his universe. I wouldn't even ask him about specifics. I would just want to know about universal creation. I'm sure that would be amazing. But he used to, like, when he would have people over, he would film his conversations with actors, and when he would do like rehearsals, he would film all of that. And he would have a camera going. I think there was like he had a lounge where at all times a camera was always going. So I can't imagine how many remarkable conversations that man must have on film, on 9 millimeter. He probably knows more secrets about 70s and 80s Hollywood than anybody else in the world. There's a reason he lives on a ranch in the middle of nowhere that's almost impossible to get into. Speaking of, I heard our dear friend Harrison injured himself in the most recent indie film during a rehearsal for a scene. I'm sorry, Hellbolt, I don't think I follow. Um, Also, for sports related, David DeCastro of the Steelers, the 31-year-old guard, cut so they could sign Trey Turner. Apparently, Dave DeCastro said he has to have surgery on his foot, which will take him out for a year. Does not plan on hanging it up. Is open to returning to a team next year, but stated if he was to have to retire, he would walk away with no regrets. So, uh, little piece of craziness unwinding there in Pittsburgh. Oh, okay, Bolt. Well, good luck, man. Doing God's work. Interesting. Yeah, the Crystal Skull, I am not a fan of. I actually went to theaters to see that, and I feel like it wasn't ready when it came out. Oh, I agree, Hellbolt. Um, I'm not a fan of the movie. I haven't watched it in full since I saw it in theaters because I was so displeased with the film that I haven't bothered to look a second time. Um, how about Shia LaBeouf blowing his opportunity to be Indiana Jones? Because apparently, um, he was supposed to be tapped as the next Indy. And that's why at the end of the film, spoiler alert from, I don't know, 8 years ago, that's why he at the end was like, "Not yet, kid," when he took his hat back. But there was allegedly an idea to turn it over for him, but his erratic and irrational behavior basically sunk the turnover of him being Indiana Jones. But that was the original plot, was to have him in the following movie take over the mantle for an aging in Indy. Man, I don't think I'd be able to weigh with that on my conscience. But like, oh, I'm supposed to be Indiana Jones, and then like 3 years later, like, oh, I'm not Indiana Jones. Okay. Hey, Ringa, how you doing, brother? I was watching a little Panda TV on your channel. That guy's got a couple of tattoos, doesn't he? Hey, take care, Ice Wolf. Appreciate you, bud. There was a series, I believe it was, wasn't it River Phoenix? Or no? Who was it? River played the young Indy before in the flashback scenes. And I can't remember who played young Indy in the series. Yeah, for the life of me, I can't remember. I mean, I could Google it. I'm just realizing I am in front of a computer right now. Wow, that's crazy. I'll have to keep an eye on that. Sean Patrick Flannery. Get out of here from Boondock Saints. Shut the front door. How did I not know that my boy SPF was young Indy? Maybe I did know that and just forgot. I love the Boondock Saints. I made Mel watch the Boondock Saints, and she had never seen it before, and it's one of my top 5 favorite movies. And you know what? Here's what I'll say: they gave the director a lot of crap for tanking the movie because it was supposed to be bigger. It was supposed to be a $30 million film or something like that. And he was at odds with Harvey Weinstein, and he basically was buried in Hollywood because he hated Harvey Weinstein and called Harvey some really nasty names. Boy, did that not age very well. Everyone's criticism of Troy Duffy. It looks like after investigating Harvey Weinstein, Troy Duffy was right. He was the on the right side of history on that one. It's too bad it basically cost him his career in Hollywood, though. And it also speaks to how devious Harvey Weinstein was. That he was able to bury somebody who made a movie that good with very little resources. But yeah, Sean Patrick Flannery was originally supposed to be Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus were not supposed to be the original brothers. It was supposed to be Patrick Swayze and somebody else. It was supposed to be a big name duo. I think it had either like a 30 or 80 million. It was like it was under 100 million, but it was, I don't know, it was like 30 or 80 million. They're supposed to have something like that. And after Harvey like refused to return his calls and was screwing around with him, he went on blast to Harvey Weinstein. And Harvey's like, "Yeah, your budget's now 11 million or 10 million." He's like, "Now go make your movie." But there is a documentary called How to Kill Yourself in Hollywood. That was a documentary made of how Troy Duffy fell. And became out of favor in Hollywood and was originally a Hollywood darling because he wrote and directed Boondock Saints. And how Harvey buried the film so that it got limited distribution and very few theater showings. Because I'm telling you, the movie's great the way it is. Willem Dafoe is the big get actor-wise, and Billy Connolly, comedian Billy Connolly, is also in there as well. And he did a phenomenal job actually not telling jokes. One of the few movies where he's not telling jokes. But if you haven't seen Boondock Saints, you got to watch it. There's blood, there's violence, and if you're a fan of cats, you might not want to watch it. But Boondock Saints, wonderful movie. Oh, he's phenomenal. Billy Connolly has, if you've ever seen his stand-up, he doesn't do stand-up jokes. Billy Connolly tells you stories about his life, and it's funny because he's laughing the entire time he's telling these stories, basically recalling the things that happened to him in life. And it is the funniest thing in the world to watch him tell a story about his childhood or his youth, because he did not have an easy youth. He had an interesting cast of characters around him growing up. But Billy Connolly's brilliant, and he is a gem in that film. A gem. He has a story about one of his loudmouth friends, acquaintances, not really his friend, but acquaintances, getting knocked out by a boxer. And the way he tells the story, he's crying while telling the story because he's laughing so hard. I'll have to find a clip of it, but it's good. It's good. But it was a good change of scenery for him to do a serious, murderous role instead of a comedian. Boondock Saints 2 wasn't as good in my opinion, but Boondock Saints 2 did have its moments where it did call back to the right stuff. But that's my opinion. Billy Connolly's been in a few things I've noticed. I saw I think it was the 10-year anniversary of Boondock Saints. They did a theater blitz one night only, and I did get to see it in theaters, which was amazing. Take care, Derek. I'm about out of here too. It's encroaching on hour 2, and I try not to go longer than 2 hours. Thanks for everything, Derek. I appreciate you, buddy. But yeah, the second one, All Saints Day, right before All Saints Day came out, or I think maybe just after they did that. Excellent. There's a 1 hour special Connolly did on the BBC going through his early life. I wonder if that is where the excerpt of the story about the guy with the pickled eggs getting knocked out and the eggs breaking. That is just so funny. It's just so funny. He is like literally an audience with Billy Connolly. Yeah. Like there's a point where he's like he's telling the story and he's got to stop because he's wiping the tears out of his eyes and he's stopping and the crowd is going bananas. In the thing, he's just going bananas. It's good stuff though. Billy Connolly is a very funny man. All right, it looks like everybody's signing out. So I guess I'll follow everybody's lead. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Benj. Ringa, sorry that I have to leave after you get here. But there's a lot of interesting stuff at the beginning of the video. Oh, you think it is a different one? Yeah, that one, Ringa, is... I wish I could remember how to even look for it. But it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Like, I've never seen a crowd and a comedian laugh together so hard that they actually have to stop the bit as they catch their breath and wipe tears from their eyes. It's that funny. It's truly that funny because he's legitimately telling a true story. You can tell because of his reaction that every word of it is true. All right, and what else is true is how much I love each and every one of you. Um, Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You guys are making, this is so cliche, but it's true. You're really making some of my dreams come true with your generosity and the things that you've done for me. And for you guys to be able to help me get to the national convention this year is amazing. And the fact that you guys have allowed me to even bring my family makes it even more special. And this is something that James is probably going to remember for the rest of his life. And that's all because of you. So thank you. I can't stress that enough. Thank you on behalf of Mel and James. Thank you. Um, I will be on again tomorrow night, as well as I believe Saturday. Saturday is in question because I have to get ready to leave on Monday. That might take 2 days. Um, so again, I love each and every one of you. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of each other. It's a crazy world out there, so it's always good to have a second set of eyes out there for you and your friends. And if you take care of yourselves and each other, we get to do this again tomorrow, and that is my goal. So thank you again. And pleasant dreams, everybody, except for you, Ringa. If you're going to bed now, then it's a nap. I hope you're not dreaming. But when you go to bed in about 8 hours, pleasant dreams then, friend.